Thursday, March 23rd to Saturday, March 25th, Old Saybrook High School juniors and seniors had the opportunity to go on a school-sanctioned trip to Washington, DC. My friends and I decided to go on this trip, and this video is just going to be an overview of our experiences, including highlights and lowlights, and whether we recommend this trip to future students. So the trip was $650 per student, which is a considerable amount for most people. I looked into the value of the trip, including the events and the costs covered, to see whether it lined up with what was offered. To see whether the price was fair, I calculated the price to go from Old Saybrook to DC with 3 other people, since there were 4 people per room, given the exact same schedule and with the exact same services that we followed. For example, the same hotels, restaurants, etc. I calculated the price to be $655.50. This included the gas cost and the hotel cost split between 4 people, and dinners, the guide tour services, the dinner cruise, and the Kennedy Center Sheer Madness show. This did not include lunch costs because they were not included in the $650 package. So this price lines up really well with the $650, which indicates that this is a fair value for what is being offered. So I thought the hotel was really nice. The rooms were spacious and everything that we needed was provided for us. The lobby area was really pretty and the location was great in terms of proximity to all the places we were going. We were never on the bus for too long. I went to the gym on Friday morning and the treadmill worked well and they had a bunch of equipment, so that was really great. Overall, I had no complaints about the hotel. So the schedule during the trip was very jam-packed, but in general everything we did was very enjoyable and fun, and I was never bored. On Thursday, after the bus ride, we went to Natural History Museum. All of the exhibits were really interesting, and I could have spent a lot of time there, but unfortunately we had to go to the dinner cruise at a certain time, so we were only there for about an hour and a half. My friends and I still had a really great experience.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
10 out of 10. The dinosaurs were cool.
Yes. It was so awesome. Yeah, I had a great time. I like the zebra. Yeah.
There was a big turtle.
The animals, they were really cute.
So after the museum, we went back to the hotel and got ready for the dinner cruise. And I thought the dinner cruise was so much fun. Better than homecoming or prom in my opinion. The DJ was really great and did a really good job of engaging everyone and getting people excited to dance. The weather was also really nice that day and the sunset was beautiful, so it was great to spend some time outside as well. Everyone there seemed to be having a really fun time and enjoying themselves.
9 out of 10. It was very fun. The food was good. I only lose this a point because it was extremely hot and I missed hips so much, and I'm kind of sad about it.
I thought the dancing was great, DJ was great. Great, love the boat thing, the sky view, everything was great.
I'd say the best thing was definitely getting jiggy with Felipe. He's just a solid dude.
It was pretty awesome. I give it a 10. I had a pretty fun night.
I give it a 9 because we missed hips a lot. I'm really upset we missed hips a lot.
So the next day we did a tour of the monuments and the memorials in the morning. This included the Jefferson Memorial, the Martin Luther King Memorial, the World War II Memorial, the Washington Monument, and the Vietnam War Memorial. It was definitely interesting to experience the rich history of our nation and to honor everyone who the memorials commemorate, but it was pouring when the tour first started, leaving us wet and cold for the rest of the morning.
I'm really drenched. I do have a hat though, that was really good for me to bring.
Umbrella doesn't stick up all the way, so it's kind of broken.
Okay, so a functional umbrella.
Yeah, I think I should have brought that. Yeah, I'm really cold. I'm feeling so wet. Freezing! Ethan on I thought it was real. It is downpouring sideways.
My puddles in my shoes. You look pretty dry, Hannah. How did that happen? I am using Kaylin's umbrella.
I'm soaked.
Look at my pants.
Look at them. It's I'm not gonna recover from this. You're a -3. I could, if it was nice out, I'd be loving it, but I feel disgusting.
One thing I would recommend is definitely bringing a lot of layers, even if you don't think you'll need them, and planning accordingly to the weather. That's one thing I regret, is not bringing an umbrella and waterproof shoes, because that made the experience to be less enjoyable. It was still definitely a memorable morning, and the architecture, memorials, and monuments were stunning, and I'm really glad I still got to see everything. That afternoon, we went to the American History Museum and the Holocaust Museum. This let us kind of escape the rain and cold. We spent a very short amount of time in the American History Museum since we also ate lunch there, but the Holocaust Museum we spent a good amount of time in, and it was really heartbreaking, and it was very effective in displaying the horrors of the event. That night, we went to the Sheer Madness show, which was lighthearted and very funny. The acting was really great, and it was interactive, which made it very fun. I was very impressed at how well the actors could improvise since it was interactive. The final day, we went to the Arlington Cemetery in the morning, and it was raining once again. It was cold and windy, so that made the experience less enjoyable for sure. We were outside for a significant amount of time since we were walking around, which would have been great if the weather was nice, but it got long considering that we were wet and freezing. That being said, the cemetery was just very impactful and moving to see the sheer amount of gravestones there. So I'm glad we went, but again, the weather made for a more interesting experience.
The cemetery was really pretty. It was downpouring and I was sopping wet and absolutely freezing because it was windy. So that kind of sucked. It's okay. It was really pretty and it was really cool to see. I didn't know that it was like that big.
So the final thing we did was go to the African American Museum, which was really cool and interactive. It was actually one of my favorite museums. It was really great to be able to experience and see African American culture, such as music and film, and learning more about the struggles they endured while facing such intense racism for so long. That was the last thing that we did before heading home. So the food options were not the best throughout the trip. Being dairy-free, there wasn't much variety, so it was hard to find nourishing food that I liked. The first place we ate was a rest stop on the way to DC, and the only thing I really liked and could eat was the chicken and rice from Panda Express. My friends who were gluten-free had an even more challenging time finding food there.
I'm so sad right now. I bought these Sour Patch Kids.
The food at the night cruise was pretty good. There was a taco bar style buffet, and everyone seemed to be enjoying their dinners. They accommodated for dietary restrictions pretty well. So the morning buffet at the hotel was definitely limited. They had basically no dairy-free options except for fruit. However, the customer service was really good, so my friend and I were both dairy-free. We were able to get oatmeal after asking an employee for dairy-free food.
It wasn't the best quality, but they make up for it with niceness. Like, the people here are very accommodating.
Lunch on Friday was at the American History Museum. There were so many options, but it was so expensive. So I got a salad, which was not huge. It cost me $17. One of my friends got fries, a salad, and a drink, and that cost her $26. So it was definitely very expensive. Dinner that night was at a restaurant called Chevy's, which also had a taco bar. It had gluten-free and dairy-free options, which is good. Overall, the food was tasty.
7 out of 10. Everything tasted how it was supposed to taste.
So the final day, we had lunch at a mall, which had a wide variety of restaurant options. Got chicken, rice, and vegetables from a Japanese restaurant, which was very good. That night, we stopped at a rest stop in New Jersey for dinner. There weren't a lot of options at all. I ended up getting a sandwich from Subway with just chicken, tomatoes, and lettuce, which was not very good. But overall, I thought that the food options were okay throughout the trip. They definitely were not a highlight by any means. I would recommend bringing a good amount of snacks to supplement any meals, especially if you don't want to be spending money there buying snacks or on the ridiculously expensive meals. My top 3 moments from the whole trip were the dinner cruise, the Martin Luther King Memorial, and seeing all of the beautiful cherry blossom trees around there, and the Sheer Madness show. I thought that all of the events were very well planned out, and the school did a great job of keeping everyone entertained and having fun. My least favorite moment was definitely the weather. The rain made seeing the monuments and the memorials definitely less enjoyable. We were just wet and uncomfortable for a lot of the trip. However, I think if you plan ahead and pack accordingly with a lot of layers and appropriately for the weather, that really shouldn't be a problem. I personally would definitely recommend this trip to anyone who's interested in going on it. Everyone was laughing and smiling all weekend long, and it was probably one of my favorite experiences from high school so far. So throughout the trip, I took various videos to document the experience. Next portion of this video is a compilation of all of these clips, which should provide more insight about what the DC trip was like, for my group at least.
Shadow under the door, just a trick of the light I've seen before. I can never tell what's real